I'm here today talking to Theresa Villiers, the Shadow Transport Secretary, who's going to talk about the transport issues facing Birmingham and the West Midlands. Hello.
Hi.
The key issue that the people of Birmingham are concerned about at the moment is the high-speed rail link. It's been much talked about, and the business community are particularly keen to see Birmingham with faster access to Europe and the major cities. What would be the Conservative Party policy on this?
Well, when we were here for our party conference last September and October, I made the announcement that the Conservative Party would give the go-ahead for a new high-speed rail line connecting London, Birmingham, Manchester and Leeds. And we think that could give huge benefits for the whole country, but particularly for Birmingham and the West Midlands, not just with a high-quality, much faster service into London with a journey time of around 45 minutes, but also much improved connections to Europe, and being able to get, say, between Birmingham and Brussels in less than 3 hours by train is an excellent opportunity for businesses across the West Midlands whose primary markets are in Europe, and that goes for many of the manufacturing industries and service industries. So that kind of access could be hugely beneficial, and there have been some very in-depth studies done on the impact of high-speed rail in the West Midlands, and they all indicate really major benefits to jobs and prosperity.
One key area of detail on this is that the debate around high-speed rail seems to be whether Birmingham city centre could accommodate such a link, or whether it would have to bypass Birmingham, perhaps by the NEC international site. Has there been anything? Have you had any thoughts on that as a?
Well, it's too early to have made the decisions on that, but you're absolutely right. There's lots of speculation. It's something that it's crucially important to get right. I mean, there are clearly advantages to city centre stations. Also, one has to think, though, about parkway stations as an option, and then, of course, crucially important, not just in Birmingham but in other cities, is accessibility to airports. So, in looking at the options for Birmingham, I think obviously the connections to Birmingham Airport will be something that all those who are involved in these decisions are going to need to take very seriously, and that's one of the reasons why I visited Birmingham Airport this morning to talk to them about the opportunities that they could get from high-speed rail. They seem very enthusiastic about the possibility of high-speed rail links to Birmingham, and of course, naturally, they were very keen to ensure that the airport was accessible.
Linked in, yeah. So they don't see it as a rival for continental travellers then?
They don't seem to have that attitude at all, actually, which I thought was very sort of far-sighted of them, that they could see lots of potential for sort of linking up sort of their passengers with Europe, train travel to Europe, train travel to other destinations. So, as I say, they were very positive, and it seemed actually quite excited about it.
Yeah. And moving on to the airport there, you've obviously had a look at their plans for the runway extension, and how important do you think the airports are to Birmingham and the West Midlands economy?
Well, clearly, having a successful regional airport can be a tremendous boost to the economy, and I know how much people in Birmingham value their airport. That said, obviously, it's always important when looking at where the airports are run, and particularly when it comes to expansion plans, one has to take very great care to address the environmental issues as well, which is one of the reasons why a second runway at Birmingham Airport, I know, would have been very controversial locally, but sort of proportionate and sort of measured expansion plans should always be considered seriously. And I think there are quite sort of sensible arguments in favour of a regional airport really trying to recapture some of its local business, because at the moment a lot of people, I think, from the West Midlands would probably get in their car and fly from Heathrow or Gatwick or Stansted, and the idea of more of that regional business coming to Birmingham rather than necessarily clogging up the roads heading down to the southeast, I think is actually quite good from a passenger perspective, because lots of people would like the convenience of a wider range of flights from their local airport. And it's also quite good environmentally, because you don't have so many people on the road sort of getting in their cars to driving to distant airports in the southeast.
So that's a good point. And
It's a
moving on
pleasure.
to the
Thank you.
environment.